Ahn Rho Project is a psychiatric self-therapeutic multimedia project to solve the problems, challenges, and obstacles in our lives, as well as a self-improvement process to reach the high goals and ambitions that we have set for ourselves as well as those around us. If you like a brief introduction, a brief summary into how we break down the Ahn Rho Project into domains of life, sub-series, analogies, and so on and so forth, you can check it out in the previous live streams for the past 3.5 years, including for the copyright-free music and the content live stream schedule. All that jazz is right there above and beyond for more updated versions. So with that being said, let's just dive into the second segment of today. Usually there's only about 11 segments across 3 different phases of the live stream, 15-minute live stream with 3 phases, 11 segments. And I want to say that this is going to solve 5 override as usual, meaning that with the system 5 override, I'm not going to follow exactly any particular structure. I'm just going to dive right into it. If you want disclaimers, you can find the previous video recordings that I've saved over on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. So with that being said, let's just dive into it. Again, all about honesty, covering non-PC topics, even if there's emotional baggage, personal insecurities, all that stuff. It's like a time capsule, it's like a game. I've got all of that on the previous streams. So introductions aside, let's just dive into the stuff that's most important. What you see is what you get right now. At the very top, left and right, well, top left and right, it's pretty much the entire screen, isn't it? We have a whole bunch of stuff here that's got to do with a book that I made when I was at my workplace. And like I said, the people at my workplace, my colleagues, are literally, they are the most amazing people, and they really welcomed me like family. So what I have here is basically a scanning of many documents. You can see I'm just dragging some down here. They represent a lot of stuff that I just scan and I'm going to upload onto my drive to save it. So I'm going to run through some of these, and then we also have some of the audio recordings here. So it's going to be like segment, I believe, 4. At the very bottom, you see a lot of food. That is class 2 items and class 4 items. Class 2 being for my domestic guardians, used to carry some emotional baggage. It still does. And then we have class 4 items, which are gifts from my cousins. So kind of like we had a celebration together because one of them is getting a wedding proposal. So congratulations to that, as well as a double birthday for 2 brothers. Congratulations. Just happy birthday to them. Congratulations. Very bottom there. And we have some cakes, some, Korean barbecue stuff. So there's just a lot to get through, a lot of photography. Let's just move into it. So here's a collage, of course. Here's another collage of sorts. You can see everything here. These are, once again, all the kind of like screenshots of documents. I'm going to lower the volume of the music. Straight through, there's a whole bunch of stuff, including apologies and just thankfulness and rambling of my thoughts, as well as trying to organize the amount of work I have, like a task list of the inventory that I have to create. Now, obviously, I'm not going to show in any detail. You can't see in any detail. That's intentional. That's deliberate. I'm obviously not. I don't feel comfortable showing things that are for my workplace that have any sort of detail. The only reason why I can even show you some of this stuff is because, as someone, I'm saying here, everything that I wrote down in mind of having privacy and confidentiality. So even if I showed you these screenshots up front, like I showed only one and I expanded it to screen, so that you can actually read it, the fact is, even then, it would not have any substantial content. There's nothing here that you could learn or about what I do at the workplace or anybody there. But the fact is, this is stuff that is important to me. Like I said, I did write a book, even though the substance is very vague for privacy concern reasons. The fact is, I still made this at the workplace, and I do very much cherish and value this book that I kind of created. So there's at least 8 different segments and different types of media formats. So I have it all here, and it's all scanned on an app called Noteblock. So that's why you see some of the stuff up here, the names. I also want to do a little show at the very back, at the very top here. There's some stuff with the titles. So there's some titles of how I decided to name the documents. So let's move down here and cover in very brief hands. Once again, you can see on the bottom left hand side, there's like this Merry Christmas thing. A whole task list. That's the way I would see over there. We can also see it on the right hand side. I mean, at the very bottom, there's like a Merry Christmas kind of thing, and then we have the same app here has an ad that has pointed onto Audible, and I thought that was kind of funny because I actually want to eventually one day listen to it. we have, once again, even more stuff. I tried to create a user manual. You can see there's for problem solving, it seems. I'm not exactly sure. And then on the very top there was something about me being able to retire certain projects, since I felt it was a waste of time to do things by paper, because then I just have to scan everything. It'd be such a waste of time, just like I had to do here now. And here was me trying to problem solve on the right hand side. Basically, what can I do to spend some of that waste time? Sometimes you don't have a lot to do at the workplace. Very rarely, on occasion, I have nothing to do. But during those occasions, like once in a blue moon, like once every 3 months, what can I do to help improve? Anyways, it came to fruition that you know there's no there's nothing I can do with such a rare stint of free time, unless it's a consistent thing where I consistently have free time. I just can't use it. It's completely useless. So I didn't follow up with that any further. Here's a case. I decided to create my own sort of locker case, because I don't really have a locker at the workplace. Granted, at that time I was like a temp staff agency, but the fact is me prototyping and sort of like taking some engineering design aspects into consideration in creating this little case for myself, and all the variables construction. On the right hand side we have stuff like oh, that's a lot of apologies. That's me writing, considering what kind of letter I want to write when I sort of resign, and I have resigned already, so that was very personal to me. And then once again, here's kind of like everything in kind of all put together here on that note block app that I scanned on, so I'm going to upload it over to the drive. And then we have here once again the names of the files. Finally, we can move on. So that was from that's digital media assets. That's usually segment 6. Now I'm going to move on to segment 7 here, and there was a lot of commentary and storytelling into that, right? A lot of context. Over here, I want to talk a little bit about yesterday's spiel of events. You can see there's a Korean Gold Cup. My chicken is apparently something that it's a Korean barbecue. I didn't recognize that. But anyways, there we have this curry chicken box in there, and then we have see some cake on the very bottom. That's like a dead center actually. It's like this. Why don't I just show? Why don't I just show you there's a collage. There's some waffles and some sandwiches. We'll get to that in a second. So here we are, the cake. So happy birthday, twice to two of my cousins, and we had a really good time. But of course, I was being a dick in certain ways, and I had a lot of doubt. I was like, I felt awful, right? I was just like kept apologizing for shit that I didn't actually do. Once again, this is a consistent theme. I always find myself at fault and responsible for things that I didn't even do, and they're like, "Why are you apologizing for? Why do you feel this way?" So that is something that was derived from my own, domestic relations between my paternal and maternal guardian. So, and that was I tried to get rid of it, and we did. We talked it through it, and it was just good times afterwards, vibing with the fact that they got a wedding. That's why we actually part of had this. So congratulations to my oldest cousin, or at least in that group. So there's some curry chicken there, and just kind of symbolize it. We're just like eating like comfort food there, because it's been like a long year. We haven't really seen each other since, especially with lockdown, COVID-19, and they have so many celebrations too. One of them has doing their doctoral fellowship at a certain university. So congratulations to pretty much everyone for making big leaps. And then we have this kind of class 2 item here. This is a Eggo waffle with avocado, margarine, and everything uses avocado nowadays. This kind of trend on health trend. Anyways, it's that's that, and we have this sandwich here that's toasted whole wheat with some chicken bologna, and that's that. So that's a class 2 item here. This is a class 2 item being from domestic gardens, some baggage, some emotional insecurities, even though I'm trying to overcome that. And then we have stuff here that's class 4 items, which are gift items from my cousins. Yeah. All right, and here's the kind of cup that I actually had. I took with me some takeout. I mean leftovers, and I passed it over because I was pretty sure that my guardians would like to eat that, and he did. He found that that's my biological father, and he really enjoyed the curry chicken. It's like white meat, not too salty. He said. Okay, so let's move over from segments 7 and 8 over to segment segment 6 and 7 over to segment 4. I actually sort of covered because I talked so much about the backdrop of the photography, I guess I don't have to talk. That also covers segment 5, which is relationships and abstract things, right? A lot of commentary, storytelling. But basically, here's recordings of basically any conversation I probably had, or any sort of ramblings and thoughts. I was talking to myself. If I was talking to myself, I would try to capture my thoughts and my feelings and emotions. So certain things that happened during that day, there was a lot of ruminating. I felt like I had done someone wrong, and they're like, "You haven't done anything wrong to us," and that's such a recurrent theme. It's probably getting exhausting, but that's something that I captured anyways. And there was also actually one of these recordings, I believe the top one on the first device, the on the very top left. That one has to do with my maternal guardian yesterday, and she was trying to, like I said, I've been helping her start a new business, but she's pretty much independent now and doing things on her own. She wanted to hire a freelancer for helping her to write up her story in an ebook or something like that. And I thought that was interesting, except that the price tag, you know, it's like $1,800. I don't think that's supposed to be how it's supposed to be if you don't really know the industry yet. But at least she's looking into it. She's not obviously gonna pay up front like that. And so I was helping her with that, and finding people who who meet her in person. Anyways, Stoic Reflections here, page. So this would be like segment 6, I believe. Still, it's impossible for someone to learn what they think they already know. This is from Epictetus. So Stoic Reflections, copyright notice, not my shit, not my stuff. I don't take ownership for this. Go over to Instagram, go over to Stoic Reflections. The reason why I have this here is because it's one of the very, very few pages that I follow, because Stoicism played a very important life in my upbringing. This is Stoicism is my father. I had to kind of raise myself in terms of morals and teachings and everything, and fight against the negative influences of my domestic guardians at that time, which of course they're better now because I've kind of put them through therapy. Um, but the fact is, here I still have a lot of attachments to philosophy, the hard line sort of disciplinary philosophy, as well as sometimes more liberalized approaches that are more scientific endeavors and kind of give you a little bit more leeway, a little bit more of a understanding approach to life that's not as brutal. But still, that's that, and I just want to shout that out there. So okay, so we have about 2 minutes left. I'm glad I got through all those assets. I just want to mention very briefly. I haven't done this in a while, in like 5 days, but obviously the Excel spreadsheet would be segment 8, I believe. I can't say there's too much significant in terms of financing. I mean, there's in terms of fitness, I'm still in a mess. But the good thing is that when it comes to inventory, I did have a lot of stuff to backlog, and I've largely been able to use the Solve 5 override to overcome having to log everything like that. But still, I did do some rudimentary entries, so I left some placeholders for, again, the cake, the purchases at my chicken, the the food I received from my guardians and stuff like that. So I'm kind of up to date. Again, sleep wise, fitness wise, health wise, things are still kind of in the shitter and the drain. And we're going to try and improve on that since the domestic wraps. So you see in the title, it does say domestic wraps. So that would be segment 4. Once again, the domestic relations is kind of wrapping up. And that's a main highlight of pretty much my entire fucking life. And so game on, bitch, because that's where we're heading now. We're just going to try to this is just something I haven't been through in my entire life. I'm kind of free, or then I can focus on positive things now much more easily than I have been able to in the past. So we have about a minute left. Let's just kind of really quickly cover all the inventory. This is in phase 3, segment 9. So we'll have physical items here, and I want to look around, glance around the room, and I see that there's not a whole lot I want to mention except for, okay, let's take this cake. I want to take one of these apple pies, maybe Reese's Pieces, take it to work. I'm going over to the side here, maybe one of the pastries there too. Put that pie inside that box and then take it to work. Most importantly here though, A788 is A788, that's the table. So here's that book I was talking about, right? So I've scanned everything. I need to upload it onto the laptop, back up it on Drive and on a cloud drive, and then take this book back over to the workplace and I stash it there. It's kind of like it's not a souvenir for them, but it is something that it's like a remnant that doesn't belong with me. I don't really need it. I just want electronic information. So then we have here, basically a souvenir for me would be the electronic version. And then here I had to wash. I take this to the trash, all this garbage here and napkins and stuff like that. Move it here over to the side, like I said. With the lunch, I'll take it away from work, put it aside, and that's about it. The pens I have to stash away somewhere, but I'll talk about that tomorrow morning. Oh, there's also trash. yeah, see you then tomorrow.